Good morning, class 12 students. So this is your subject physics, chapter number 14, that is electronic devices, and lecture number 7. So up to yesterday you have studied about PN junction as a rectifier. So we have studied two types of rectifier, that is half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. So today we will be studying special type PN junction diodes. So basically you have four types of special type PN junction diodes. First is Zener diode, second is a photodiode, third is LEDs, that is light emitting diodes, and fourth one is solar cells. Now out of these four, Zener diode is removed from your syllabus, so therefore I will be discussing Zener diode only in brief. After that we will be discussing photodiode, LED and solar cells properly. Okay, so let us begin with the Zener diode. So as you know the symbol of a normal PN junction diode, this is the symbol of a Zener diode, and the only difference is that you have two lines here at N type. So this is the sign of a Zener diode, this is the P type and this is the N type of Zener diode. Okay, so this is the symbol. So I'll be telling you 3-4 main points about Zener diode. So the first point is that Zener diode is always used in reverse biasing condition. That is, it is the diode which works in which works in reverse biasing. Second point second important point of Zener diode is that voltage drop across Zener diode is independent of current flowing through it. Okay, so this point means that voltage across the Zener diode is independent of the current flowing through it. So therefore this Zener diode can be used as a voltage regulator, which is your fourth point. It is used as a voltage regulator because voltage across it is independent of current flowing through this Zener diode. And how this Zener diode is made, what is done, a heavy doping is done on both the sides, that is P side as well as N side of PN junction, which converts a P-type diode, simple P-type diode, to a Zener diode. So these were 3-4 main points about Zener diode. Now we will be discussing photodiodes. So photodiode, so by name it is clear, photodiode means that it will be working with photons, that is with light. So what will happen? On a photodiode, light will fall, due to which current carriers will be generated. So current carriers are generated in photodiode by photons, and as you know, your light contains photons only. Okay, and this photodiode is also used in reverse biasing as your Zener diode. Okay, so these are the 2 points about photodiode. Now we will be discussing the working of photodiode and its diagram. So this is the simple diagram of a photodiode. So what is there? This is a PN junction. Oh, sorry, this is a P-type. Yes, this is a PN junction. This is a depletion region. Okay, now because as I told you, this is reverse biased. So that means P is connected to negative and N is connected to the positive of the external battery. Okay, and we have connected a microampere here to measure the current. Okay, so now as I told you, in this current carriers will be generated when light will fall on it. So what is happening basically, see, light will fall on this depletion region. So as soon as light falls on the depletion region, electron holes pairs are created in depletion region. Okay, but as you know, there cannot be any current carriers in depletion region. So as soon as due to this light, electron hole pairs are generated in depletion region, due to this positive terminal connected to N, electrons will move to N type and holes will move to P type. That means your minority charge carriers are flowing, because if into N electrons are going, that means minority charge carriers are flowing towards N, right? So that means a reverse current is generated. So I am explaining it once again. What is happening when light will fall on this PN junction diode or this photodiode, electrons holes pair will be generated in this depletion region. Due to this positive terminal, electron will move towards N type, and due to this negative terminal, holes will move towards P type. Thus you can say a reverse current has started to flow. Okay, So what was seen? It was seen even when no light falls on this photodiode, a small current was present. That is, even if no light is there, a small current is present, and that current is called dark current. Dark current because that is the current in the dark, that is when no light is there. Okay, so that current is called dark current. And it was also seen that this reverse saturation current, or the reverse current which is generated, is directly proportional to intensity of light. That is, as the intensity of light will increase, more electron hole pairs will be generated. So that means more reverse current will be there. So this is the main condition why this photodiode is used in reverse biasing, because reverse saturation current is directly proportional to intensity of light. And obviously if current will be more, it will be easy to measure it, so therefore we want more current only, right? But it is not followed in forward biasing, therefore we use photodiode in reverse biasing. Okay, so here I have plotted a graph between reverse current and reverse voltage. So as you know, this type of graph we get for reverse biasing, this you have already seen. So here this line shows you the dark current when no intensity of light is falling on the diode. So this line is for dark current. Now these are for particular intensities such that I3 is greater than I2, which is greater than I1. So as you can see, as your intensity is going on increasing, your reverse current also goes on increasing. So therefore this photodiode is used in reverse biasing condition. Okay, so therefore what has happened, photons have created the current carriers, due to which we have got reverse current. So now if you talk about the uses of photodiodes, they are used in optical communication, and they are used in switching light on and off, because they can switch light on and off within nanoseconds. So they can be used for switching purposes. Okay, so now let us discuss third special p-n junction type, that is LEDs. Okay, so first of all, it is again clear by its name only, light emitting diodes. That means these diodes will be emitting light. In photodiodes, what was happening? Light was falling and current was generated. But in this, what will happen? Current will be given and that will be converted to light energy. So these will be the light emitting diodes which will convert electrical energy to light energy. Okay, so these are the LEDs. And LEDs are always operated in forward biasing condition. Okay, now let us discuss a simple diagram for LEDs also. So for LEDs, what is done? A N-type semiconductor is taken, and on that, or you can say above the N-type, a P-type semiconductor is diffused. So therefore what we get is a p-n junction diode like this. Okay, so now one more important thing in LEDs is that the upper layer here, a transparent material, or you can say the upper layer is kept transparent so that the light emitted can be, so the light which is generated can come out, because as obviously you know, light will only be come out if you have a transparent sheet. If the sheet is colored, the light will not be able to come out properly. So the upper layer is kept transparent so that light can come out easily. Okay, so now again, because it is forward biased, that means P type will be connected to positive and N type will be connected to negative of this external battery. Okay, now what will happen in this? See, because this is forward biasing, and as you know, in forward biasing the flow of majority charge carrier takes place. So this is the p-n junction now, right? Now what will happen? The majority charge carriers which are near the boundary will be able to go more easily across the junction. So due to the movement of these majority charge carriers across the junction, what will happen? Here the majority of, or you can say here the number of holes will increase, and here the number of electrons will increase. That is, you can say the number of minority charge carriers will increase across the junction due to the flow of majority charge carriers in opposite direction. So due to that, what will happen? I have written it here. Flow of majority charge carriers takes place, which increases the concentration of minority charge carriers near boundary of Pn, junction. Okay, so now when the concentration of these minority charge carriers increases near the junction, what will happen? They start to combine with the majority charge carriers which are present near the junction. That is, in n type, the minority charge carriers, that is holes, will start to combine electrons which are present near the boundary, and in p type, electrons are minority charge carriers, so they will start combining with holes which are near the boundary. So what will happen? These minority charge carriers will combine with the majority charge carriers which are near boundary of the junction. So now what will happen? As soon as the combination, or you can say the recombination of electrons and holes takes place, light will be emitted, or you can say some energy will be emitted. Now this energy will only be able to come out only, or you can say only those photons will be able to come out which have either energy greater than or equal to band gap energy. So due to the recombination of electrons and holes, photons are generated, and the photons which are having energy equal to or greater than band gap energy will be able to come out. So this is the working of a light emitting diode. So as you can see, electron and holes, that is current carriers, are responsible for generating photons or for generating light. Okay. Now what was seen, as the forward current goes on increasing, the intensity of this emitted light also increases, but at a particular value, when all the recombination takes place, this intensity of light saturates. After that, it won't increase more, instead it will start to decrease. So you can say, as forward current increases, intensity of LEDs also increases, and after that it will reach a maximum value when all the recombinations have taken place. Okay. Now these LEDs are never used in reverse biasing, because when you connect them, this LED in reverse biasing, what will happen? It will be working as a normal diode and does not emit light. But we want light emitting diodes, so obviously we use them in forward biasing, so that due to forward current they can emit light. Now if we talk about the uses and advantages of LEDs, so as all of you know, in digital watches LEDs are used, and in remote controls also LEDs are used. All of you must have seen a small light in front of the remote control which helps to make a connection with your TV. Okay, so in digital watches and remote controls LEDs are used. Now LEDs have a lot of advantages over normal lamps. For example, LEDs are very small in size, their cost is very low, that is, they are very cheap, they are easy to handle, obviously because of their small size they can be easily handled, and they use very less power. Okay, so these were the advantages and uses of LEDs. Now we'll be discussing solar cells. Okay, so as again all of you know, solar cells, what the purpose for which they are used is to convert solar energy, that is the energy through sun, into electrical energy. Okay, so solar cells are the devices which will convert solar energy to electrical energy. Now in solar cells, no external biasing is used, that is neither forward biasing nor your reverse biasing is used in solar cells. Okay, so through this electrical energy the voltage is generated, which is called photo voltage, obviously because this is generated through photons, so it is called photo voltage. So now let us study how it works. So this is the diagram for a solar cell. In this, what has happened, see, this is a n-type semiconductor below which a metal contact is placed. So the reason for this metal contacts I'll tell you later. Okay, so a metal contact is there, above which a n-type semiconductor is there, onto which a thin layer of p-type semiconductor is there. Again on p-type a metal electrode is there, and after that a glass plate is kept. Okay, now see, this p layer is very thin as compared to n layer. Okay, so and it is kept upward, you can say, okay, above n. So the reason is p type is kept upward and it is thin because the incident photons which are incident on this solar cell may easily reach p-n junction. Okay, they will be able to reach this p-n junction easily if this p layer is thin. So p is kept upward and it is thin. Okay, now as I told you, no biasing will be used for this p-n junction. And why I have written a positive and negative sign here, that also I'll tell you in just 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, so now what will happen, as soon as these photons will reach this p-n junction, electron holes pairs will be generated. But remember one thing, electron holes pair will only be generated in depletion region for those photons which have energy greater than or equal to band gap energy. Okay, this I have told you earlier also. So the photons which have energy equal to or greater than band gap energy, when fall on the depletion layer, they will be producing electron hole pairs. Now what will happen, these photo generated electrons will start moving towards n, and those photo generated holes will start moving towards p. Okay, so now because electrons are moving towards n and holes are moving towards p, and we do not have any external biasing here, so what will happen, these electrons and holes are collected on these metal electrodes. Okay, so electrons are connected here, collected here, and holes are collected here. Okay, so therefore because electrons are connected on this electrode acquires negative charge, and because holes are you can say collected on this electrode or this contact, positive charge will appear here. So that is the reason of positive negative, and this is the reason for using metal contacts, so that the generated, or you can say photo generated electrons and holes can be collected. So photo generated electrons will move towards n and photo generated holes will move towards p. Okay, then they will be collected at either electrodes through which we will be getting photo voltage. So this is how in solar cells solar energy is being converted to electrical energy. Okay, so this is the VI plot for a solar cell. On x-axis voltage is denoted and on y-axis current is denoted, and I have taken 2 points here, A and B. So VOC is your open circuit voltage and ISC is your short circuit current. Okay, so by open circuit voltage you mean, see, open circuit means when no current is there. Obviously in open circuit no current can flow. So when current is 0, this is your voltage, so this becomes open circuit voltage. Okay, and there will be a maximum value of current which flows in short circuit, obviously, and that value of current is this, which is short circuit current. So you can say short circuit and open circuit are just opposite to each other. Okay, at this point your current is 0, and at this point we have 0 voltage but a short circuit current flowing in the cell. So if you want to define them, you can easily say open circuit voltage is the voltage across solar cell when the current flowing through it is 0, and short circuit current is the current through the solar cell when voltage across it is 0. Okay, so this is the VI graph. Now let us discuss some uses of solar cells. So obviously these solar cells will be working during or you can say they will get charged during day. Okay, so they will be charging storage batteries, and they can generate electrical energy for cooking and for other daily use purposes. Okay, so they get charged during day, obviously, because only during day you have solar light. Okay, okay students, so your chapter number 14 is completed now. You can do all the questions of your NCERT tomorrow only. Okay, so let me tell you the questions which you do not have to do, because most of the questions are removed from the syllabus. So okay, so these are the questions which you do not have to do. 6, 7, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18 and 19. These questions you do not have to do. Okay, so only 19 questions are there. So out of these, I think only 8-9 questions are left now. So do all of them. I'll take your doubts tomorrow. Okay. Thank you.